Donttap podcast.
Donttap podcast.
Follow me on Twitter.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
Okay, Donttap podcast, a little late in the week. Who got the props? Callum McGregor here, riding solo this week. I'm going to go through nice and short and sweet and break down some of my spots, some of the angles on the weekend. Unfortunately, Daniel Marcos was one of our bigger plays of the week. He is out. Opponent missed weight. So now we will sort of not really juggle. I haven't really added anything new to the slate. This is what we will be going with, though. So the first play of the night will be Petrosian money line. And when I say first play, that's when I feel almost, I feel much stronger about this than a lot of people, I think, right now. A lot of people are looking at Vieira, thinking that Vieira is going to be able to get Petrosian down. And my only challenge to this one is this is going to be actually a case of a striker versus a jiu-jitsu guy, but what's going to matter is going to be the wrestling. So Petrosian's defensive wrestling is going to be the case, and or Vieira's offensive wrestling is going to be the case. And who shored that up over time? I just think that Petrosian likely is going to be the one that's going to be able to keep it on the feet a little bit more. And if it stays on the feet even a little bit more, he's just going to land. And it's going to be very bad to watch for Vieira, who throws sort of big looping shots and leaves himself exposed. Now, he did show some growth in his stand-up. But, I mean, we know what this is. He's got to close the distance to get Petrosian down. And I just don't know if, everybody talks about jiu-jitsu black belts and jiu-jitsu, high-level jiu-jitsu guys, and I get it. Vieira definitely is. But my only thing is MMA, very few jiu-jitsu guys are able to actually translate that and over the course of 3 rounds. The jiu-jitsu does not translate over the course of 3 rounds. It's very rare that you see the highest level of jiu-jitsu, Anderson Silva, Chael Sonnen, set up at the end of a fight. It's usually they get their shots earlier. That's when it's going to happen. They're going to have their chances to actually get a guy down and submit someone. But what happens is it's almost like a Mario game where you see, like, when he hits the coin pops out. Well, every time that a jiu-jitsu guy gets hit, a belt color drops off. And it's not going to be as easy for him to get the takedown. It's not going to be as easy for him to also get the submission and work for the submission. So Petrosian, I know we're looking at sort of faith in Petrosian getting better at takedown defense. We're looking at faith of Vieira getting better at takedowns. But a lot of people are riding high on Vieira this week for his jiu-jitsu. But I ask you, how's his wrestling? Have we seen proof that his wrestling is that great? And I get that we can say Petrosian's defense isn't that great. But if Vieira doesn't lay out good shots and have good entries, Petrosian's going to light him the fuck up. I'll take the fact that this is still sitting at pretty much money line, or pretty much a pick'em, sorry. I'll go with my money line pick, minus 107 at Pinnacle. It may be slightly changed because it is fight day, so the lines can move a little bit. Minus 107 at Pinnacle, Petrosian money line. I may as well just sort of parlay this into my second biggest plus money play, which means you're not going to weigh as heavily on this one. This would be further down the list, but I'm going to add it in because it's Petrosian again. And I'm going to go Petrosian KO. I think Petrosian by KO is one of the most likely outcomes of this fight. Plus 265 at Unibet. Once again, the line could have changed by the time this gets out in the morning. But Petrosian by KO, for me, I just think Vieira's going to be left out on his feet at some point, and he's just going to get worked. Petrosian will likely even run maybe even a switch stance and hit that body. And I get it. Early, he may not throw those kicks out there because he's worried about getting the takedown. But late in the fight, I think he's just going to see him start poking away at Vieira if he doesn't knock him out early. And just work on that cardio and just get him out of there, man. I fully see it. So that is the way I see that one going. Petrosian money line and Petrosian by KO. Now, if we move into a parlay that I put together, Petrino, I mean, a lot of people are high on him right now, and I think this is a parlay a lot of people put together. Fakhretdinov and Petrino parlay, minus 120 at FanDuel. I just think both fighters are going to be able to either go out in dominant fashion pretty early in the fight. I could see it in 1 or 2. And also just sort of dominate them and ragdoll both their opponents down. Although Petrino, once again, I know everybody's talking about it. He's known for striking coming into the UFC, and we're looking for striking, and now he's been sort of putting on his singlet. He's become more of a wrestler and wrestling approach, knowing that that's there. So it could grind over, it could grind to a decision. But I think he gets him out of there as well, too. I think so does Fakhretdinov. But both guys will have control if it did stretch out over distance. So either way, I'm happy with the parlay. I'm good with a little bit of chalk. Billy taught me a long time ago, those minus 100 to minus 120 parlays, 2-piecers, sometimes even 3-piecers, but 2-piecers, that's sort of the way to go, guys. I mean, they just land. They land at a higher clip, and just makes sense to me. So that's the parlay of the week. So the Donttap parlay, solely me, Vakradinov, and Petrino, minus 120 at FanDuel. Next, we have a play that is a little sneaky motherfucking play. Some of you may think this fight could go to decision. I don't see it because it didn't last time. We have a tale of a fight that just happened, a tale of, everybody's running the same line on every fucking podcast. And yes, I got my podcast out late. I listened to some podcasts this week. So, I'm hearing a lot of the lines over and over again recycled. It's the tale of a fight that we didn't want to see. A rematch that we didn't want to see. Sorry, I fucked that up. Regardless, we got Nascimento by sub, Mays by KO. That's my play on this fight. So, Nascimento subbed Mays in his last fight. Mays has also then had camps to get better. So everybody's really on Nascimento heavy. Careful. Mays, I don't see being able to grind a decision. He's not going to be able to run a top-heavy game. He's going to get... That's not a game he's going to win against Nascimento. He's going to have to knock him out. Plain and simple. That's his win condition. So it's a little bit of a security for me. So I'm losing a lot in the submission. But I think Nascimento submits Mays. And if he doesn't, he gets KO'd by Mays. Minus 105 at DraftKings. So DraftKings minus 105. Nascimento by sub. Mays by KO. If the fight goes the distance, I'll eat the shit on this one. But I just don't see this one going the distance. If you want to be safer and just say fight doesn't go, you're not going to get as much value. I think this is the way to play it. Nascimento by sub or Jailton Almeida by KO minus 105. Once again, sorry I'm not digging in and breaking down fight by fight. This is a quick one-up. Listen to it while drinking your coffee in the morning. Look at your picks. See if you want to put them up against mine. Tail me, fade me, take a little bit of it. I don't give a fuck, but listen. So, the next fight that I would look at would be Bonfim against Dolby. And a lot of people are looking at the over. So let me tell you how I got to this. I was looking at the fight starts round 2. It's minus 130 on most books. It just feels a little bit too chalky for me and a little bit too risky. I wanted a little bit more meat on the bone because although everybody thinks Dolby with his pedigree and his level will likely, push this to over, he could even push this to a win. He could be a dog in this situation. But to rail it in, to rein it in a little bit, we look at Bonfim, who's finished most guys in the first round. We have Dolby, who's a vet. A lot of people are sort of overshooting that Dolby could win a decision. So I just think this sort of stretches over the typical first round. We give Dolby the credit, but then he gets touched up, and I think he's going to get worked in that second round. At the same time, I'm just going to be real safe. I'm going to say the fight ends in round 2. Either guy could finish it. I think it's Bonfim. And I could get, everybody would be like, why don't you just go to Bonfim numbers and Bonfim props? But I just like it. And this is the play I'm going to run. Bonfim Dolby ends in round 2 at plus 430. Because when I looked at the minus 130 at fight starts round 2, felt a little bit chalky. When I looked at the over 1.5, I feel like the fight might end in that first half of that second round. Bonfim comes out and just goes to work. So for me, this is the biggest plus money play of the night. This is the put least on it. Sprinkle your Tim Hortons money on it. Bonfim Dolby fight ends in round 2. No specific winner. Fight ends in round 2 at plus 430. It may be different on different books, but you're looking at around plus 430 for that one. So as far as my main plays, Petrosian moneyline minus 107 at Pinnacle. We got Vakradinov and Petrino parlay at minus 120 at FanDuel. Nascimento by sub or Mays by KO, minus 105 at DraftKings. I think that's a steal. Petrosian by KO, plus 265. I think that's the way that fight goes. I think that's just it. Bonfim Dolby, fight ends in round 2, plus 430. That's my slate. That's my plays. That's what I'm looking at. That being said, we got to talk about the main event quickly. It's pretty hard for me to touch this at this point. The line is so wide. We have Jailton Almeida coming in. And right now, we'll see what the line is sitting at overnight. But Jailton likely gets Lewis down. Jailton likely submits him or starts to just land big hammer fists and gets him out of there, and Lewis goes to quit mode. But Lewis is the only person in the world, I think, besides maybe Ngannou, that talks about that puncher's chance. And Ngannou's even bigger than... He's not really a puncher's chance. He's showing he's way more than that. Lewis is more of a puncher's chance. It is what it is. He can get up from the ground. People are challenging, what's it going to look like with Jailton takes him down? Can he get back up? And they're trying to analyze this fight. I think that's a silly way to do it. I think if you're going to touch this, you run Jailton at the end of your parlays, so you can add him as a piece to your parlays. I've been trying to stay away from hedges in main events. I think you lose money over time, in my opinion. I think if you're hedging constantly right at the end of your parlays all the time, this is a spot where you could do Jailton Almeida, though, at the top of your parlay. You hedge out with Derrick Lewis by KO. So if you look at Jailton Almeida right now, he's sitting at minus 500. It's probably one of the best lines you're going to see out there right now. Minus 485 at 45, sorry, at DraftKings. If you look at Derrick Lewis by KO, though, we'll pull that up right now. We have Derrick Lewis by KO is, well, plus 400. So plus 475, actually. What is that? DraftKings at Unibet. So plus 485 at Unibet right now by KO. So, I mean, if you're looking at a great hedge situation, that's probably one of the better hedge situations you're going to see that are out there. And this is where I think you would sort of hammer that. So if you ran Jailton on a parlay, whatever parlays you're doing, if you have enough at risk in that, whether it's a 2, 3, 4, 5 full card piece, and Jailton is at the top of your card, I don't know if Lewis... I mean, you could just go Lewis money line if you want at the plus money. It's a decent amount of plus money. But Derrick Lewis by KO plus 4. Yeah, you know what? Do you see Derrick Lewis winning by submission? Do you see Derrick Lewis winning by decision? I don't see either of those things happening. I just can't. So I might even just be greedy and take the extra plus 100 from the money line to the KO. Just because I don't see it going any other way. And I'll repost this clip if Derrick Lewis wins by decision, and I'll look like a fucking idiot. But I think that the way you look at this, Jailton Almeida, he would be at top of a parlay, and that would be the only way you can get value in this. If you start searching for it, you're going to go Jailton Almeida by submission, and he's going to knock him out. Donkey Konging him from the top. So, yeah, I just think that's the play. I think Jailton Almeida, parlay him if that's what you want to do. I'm staying off the fight. No play for me. If you look at potential live situations, Gabriel Bonfim against Dalby. Dalby is a guy who's gone to decision many times, done it in the past, can do it again. So I think with Dalby, live betting is something that you want to look at. Keep an eye on that fight. In between rounds, see if going into that second round it makes sense to put money down on it. I think with Borjallo, you may get better value on him in the second round because Ibis might put it on him a little bit in the first round. But if it drags out over the next 2 rounds and it doesn't, like, he doesn't get him out of there early, it's going to be a Borjallo fight. And another one we want to look at for live betting, I think, would be, I mean, even looking at the Petrosian fight, but I don't know where the value is going to be there then. I think you got to sort of plant your flag early in that one because Vieira, you could take him down once or twice in the first round. I definitely don't see that. You could get him in a bad spot, and then I don't think they're going to move the line. And the books are pretty smart on this now. They're not jumping the line to give inflated value into somebody that may lose it going into the second round. So they're pretty tight on it, but I think that would be another one to maybe look at for live betting. Just take a look, watch, see what's going on in the fight, look at the lines. Some books are better than others at keeping the lines open, but definitely look at that one. So, Donttap podcast, UFC Brazil. Sorry for the late play. I'm always going to at least try to get something out for Saturday morning at minimum. We are looking at a little bit of a shift. I'm hoping to have the next week's card out first thing in the week. And we will likely be moving to a little bit of a different format as far as people that will be on. Can't get into it too in detail, but Nick won't be with us regularly, and it's not a negative thing, him on the podcast at all, or between he and I, like you see on some of these podcasts. Just life-changing things that are going on right now. So for him, he's got to refocus himself and he'll be jumping on periodically. I will have Billy on periodically, and I'll be bringing on a lot more people periodically. It's time to now branch out and have more people come out of the podcast and turn this into a cap to capper situation where I'm bringing the cappers on, I'm bringing the coaches on, and I'm finding out and digging in and really dissecting their mindset as I'm also putting in my place. So, Donttap podcast. That's it. Who's got the props?